Okay, great. And welcome to this afternoon's the second in an 8-part series of Lunch and Learn, where we're going through different aspects of business and looking to see, is there anything that we could be doing differently that would help us with what we do in our business. Today's is all around mental strength for success in business, or if you wanted to word it differently, you could call it how do we get over our fear of not doing what we should be doing, or how do we get the mental strength that we need for everything that we need to do. So thank you for all the ones that have joined this afternoon. It's great to see that we've got quite a few people on this afternoon. It's great to see that some of you returned from the last time. And the one thing I do want to ask you at the very start is that you guys have all registered for this webinar for a reason. So it's all about mental strength for success in business. So can you just jot down on your pads in front of you? I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I've got a timer, and just write down what's the one thing that you would like to be better at in business regards mental strength. So 60 seconds, off you go. Timer's started. So what is it you'd like to be better at? What mental strength could you have better to be better in business? 45 seconds. So some people still joining, great to see you. We're just going through what do we want to do? What is it we want to be better at mentally in terms of running our businesses? So we'll take another 20 seconds, then we'll start going through some slides. That's great. And last 5 seconds. It's like a countdown. So hopefully now you've got something written down in front of you you would like to be better at. So what I'm going to go through is what's happening within business. And as it says at the top there, if you're not changing, you're not growing. The one thing we definitely know, as you'll see on the next slide, is the one constant in business at the minute. The one constant is change. So we've had a tough year. As it says at the bottom there, BCAC, we've had a tough year in business. We've had to show a lot of mental resilience. And we're now starting to look at, okay, what have we learned? What's the one thing that we've learned as we start to move forward? Because if you go back to where we were 12 months ago, this was effectively what's happened during the last 12 months. This is a slide that we used 12 months ago at the beginning of April. We shared this with everybody and said, this is what's going to happen. We called them phase 1 through to 5, lockdown training, warming up, etc., etc. We've added the extra arrows to say, look, this is where we were. Lockdown end date announced. We now know that's happened. Lockdown end date has been announced, and we know when lockdown's ending. Some of the things have started to ease. Some further restrictions lifted on Monday of this week. But if we go back 12 months and we looked at where we were going to be going, we haven't changed the words for this webinar this afternoon. These were on this 12 months ago, and we knew that one of the things was going to be mindset. That was in phase 1. We moved forward to phase 3. Mindsets there again, and preparing mentally for what's going to be coming ahead. We now know that's not changed. A lot of what we do is in and around mindset, and we have to make sure that we're in the right place for what we want to achieve with our businesses. So as we go through, and I have been through what's happened for the last 12 months, we know that things have changed. We know that things have changed, and we know that things will continue to change. If you understand how change works, indeed, if you know how grief works, these two curves are very similar, where at the very start, we just want to deny there's a need to actually change anything. And we get a lot of people in that denial stage who sometimes move into the anger stage, but actually don't get very far beyond that because it's too uncomfortable. So we've got to accept that these things do happen. And it will happen at different times along those stages for different people. As business owners, we look at this and we think to ourselves, right, we've got to get to that acceptance stage as quickly as possible. We know things are changing. The pandemic itself was something that was imposed upon us. We had to deal with it, get to the point where we accept that it's outside of our control. But what is in our control is actually how we react to it. So the change curve, and if you've got things happening in your business where you've got employees who know that change is coming, recognize that things or people go through these various stages of the change curve, and recognize that you need to deal with them differently for different people in your organization. We do know with what happens in business that the only constant in business is change. It will continue to evolve. It will continue to iterate. You will continue to get new competitors in your marketplace. You have to constantly look at what's happening and make sure you are changing. But hey, change is scary. It's scary for more people. or for different people than it is for others. As the business owners, we've got to accept that, hey, this thing is happening, but the people that work for us, in and around us, may find it way more compromising and scary than we do. So I'm going to give you two quotes here, two of my favorite people in business of all time. So Jim Rohn, greatest business philosopher to my mind. What happens to everyone. It's what you do about it that matters. What happens to everyone. It's what you do about it that matters. So the pandemic, it happened to everyone. The people that have survived, and sadly 340,000 businesses are no longer in existence from this time last year. That's just the business deaths from the Office of National Statistics. Some people didn't do enough about it. What happens. Similarly, from Henry Ford, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are correct. This afternoon's webinar is all around the mental strength for success in business. Mental strength, those 6 inches between your ears, they play such an important part in what you do and where you take your businesses. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are correct. I am going to come back to this quote several times as I go through the course of the next 30, 40, 45 minutes, because if nothing else, I want to impress upon you this afternoon that once you start to believe up here that you can achieve anything you want to, you absolutely can start to achieve what you want. So what's the one thing then that stops us from making that jump from where we're at to where we know we should be going, or where we would like to get to? And it's this thing called fear. Now, fear means many things to different people. What I do know is, and what I can tell you is, fear, it doesn't exist. It's an abstract construct. You cannot go to the cupboard and take out a cup of fear. It doesn't exist. It's something that we introduce to a situation that prevents us from getting to where we would like to get to. We introduce it. It doesn't exist until we absolutely introduce it. There are many things that will tell you what does fear stand for. Within Action Coach, this is exactly what we use fear to be. False expectations appearing real. What does that mean? It means that we put these things in our head and we get them to be true. We believe them to be true, even though we don't know whether they are or whether they aren't. It's a false expectation, but we make it a real in our own mind. We can't get there because, we can't do this because, that's impossible because, we can't do it. It's a false expectation. And I'm going to go through situations that you'll see later and you'll think, wow, of course, those people had fear, but actually they then conquered that fear. So we're going to look at this thing that stops us from getting to where we want to get to within our businesses and challenge the very mindset that we've got that says, actually, am I just a little bit frightened of something without even pushing myself? So just going to play you a minute's clip from Jim Carrey, or hopefully I am. It's all embedded. So we've run it previously, so this should work. I'll just give it a few seconds.
You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying, I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job, and our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
So, graduation ceremony there, Jim Carrey speaking, and there are many, many things I could pull from that 60 seconds, which are brilliant and worth sharing. Two of them I will pull out. My father didn't believe he could be a great comedian, so he took a job as an accountant. He didn't believe. I will refer back to Henry Ford. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are correct. He didn't believe he could make it as a comedian. He was correct. He didn't do it. He didn't pursue that route. That's the power of the minds that we've got that tell us whether we can or whether we can't. One of the other things that Jim Carrey said was, many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. Now, when he said that, you may have heard a couple of whistles as if to, wow, that's pretty profound. Many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. We'll go for the things that are easy because they're practical. He followed that up by saying what we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. He's the living proof. Ask for help. Ask the universe to take you or give you what you want and start to see what happens. If we believe we can get there, we absolutely will start to move there. So this thing called fear, this false expectation appearing real. Jim Carrey's father there, you know, living personification. He didn't believe he could do it, therefore it appeared real in his mind and he went for something else. What is it? What is it in our personal lives, in our business lives that we really strive for, but we don't believe we can get there because we tell ourselves we can't get there? What is it that we're holding ourselves back with? What is it that we don't believe we can achieve? What are those things? Because we've all got these blockers that stop us from doing some of the things that we want to do. Let's have a quick look at Will Smith.
Drink with your friends, and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah. You go, yeah. Everybody goes, yeah. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane and you can't figure out why you would do that. You wake up the next day and you go, down and you said where you were going to meet and everybody's there. So you get in the van and you're like, oh my God. And your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet, and somebody opens the door. And in that moment, you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. And you're looking out down to death. And they say, on three. And they say, 1, 2. And he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3. And you go, Aah! And you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying. There's zero fear. You realize at the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. Why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. The best things in life on the other side of terror, on the other side of your maximum fear are all of the best things in life.
Wow. 2 minutes from Will Smith. Again, lots of things you could pull from that, but at the very end there, he says, on the other side of your maximum fear are all of the very best things in life. On the other side of your maximum fear, excuse me, are all of the very best things in life. What is it that we are so fearful of that we won't allow ourselves just to step outside of this thing we call a comfort zone? Because outside the comfort zone, it's just too uncomfortable. Coming out of that zone means we may have to change. Yes, we may have to change. But on the other side of that maximum fear are all of the very best things in life. If you ever want to watch the clip again, YouTube, and just look for Will Smith fear and you'll find it. So this thing here, gosh, excuse me. This thing here, comfort zone, where most people live their lives. It's where the comfort blanket's on and everything is just, oh, it's fabulous, it's great. But actually, if we really want to push ourselves and get to where the magic happens, the magic does not happen inside our comfort zone. We have to go and do something differently. What is it that we need to do? It depends on what it is that we want to achieve or where we want to go or who we want to be. But the answer rarely lies inside our comfort zone. So we've got to start pushing ourselves. What does that mean? Well, for those of you that know me, if I was to say, could I run a marathon today or tomorrow or next week? The answer to that quite clearly would be no. I would not be able to do that. It's so far beyond my current capabilities, I would not be able to do that. So the next question is, what about a half marathon? And the answer to that again is probably, in fact, definitely not. Not probably not, definitely not. So let's peel it back still further. Could I do a 10K consistently without stopping? No is the answer. Let's distill back further. Could I do a 5K or maybe a 1K? Could I walk for 100 meters? Could I run for 100 meters? The answer to that is I don't know whether I could run for 100 meters. Intuitively, I think I could run for 100 meters. I could certainly walk. So I could actually start walking. And the next thing I would look to achieve would be to run 100 meters. As I start to do that and build up what I can do, if anybody's followed the Couch to 5K program, this is exactly what it is. You start on little, you start walking, you start running, you walk, you run, you do a bit more running, a bit more running. And eventually, within 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I would be able to run a kilometer. Following the program, I would be able to run a 5K. The Couch to 5K program, I think, gets you there in about 10 weeks, 11 weeks. If I followed the program, I would be able to run a 5K. If somebody then asked me the question and said, John, would you be able to run 1,000 meters? Could you come and run a K with me? The answer to that would be yes. It's now within my comfort zone. Currently, it is not. What I've done is I've expanded that thing called a comfort zone. I've pushed it further out and further out and further out, and I'm getting closer to where that magic happens because I'm actually doing something and pushing myself beyond where I was. That fear of running and being completely worn out starts to dissipate. It starts to disappear. If I followed the program, I would be able to run a 10K. I absolutely would be able to run a 10K. And then it starts to look at, could you run the half marathon and the marathon? That then depends on really how badly and how hard you really want to push yourself. But I'm going to cover that off in about 15, 20 minutes, because if we decide we really want to do that, the only person that will stop us getting there will be us. So actually, how do we get there? Well, we start with something that we know, and we start pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone. It's the only way to get to the place where that magic happens. So we know we want to do something different, but we don't know how. Or in some instances, we don't know how. Certainly for running a marathon, a half marathon, we know where we need to start. What about growing our businesses? What about breaking into new markets? How do I break into the EU, John? How do I break into the USA? We're scared. We just don't know how these things happen because we've never been there. So we introduce this thing called fear, this abstract conduct that doesn't exist. We bring it because it allows us then to stop us doing what we really, really, really would want to do. And we allow this fear thing to be the thing that says, well, I wanted to, and I really wanted to get there, but fear stopped me getting there. If you believe you can do it, or if you believe you can't do it, you are correct. You know, you will leave this webinar probably with these words imprinted on your mind. And if you do, that's fantastic. Because as you move forward, both in your personal life and in your business, and you start to think self, can I do this? Can I do it? Yes, if you believe you can do it, you absolutely can do it. A webinar for mental strength for success in business starts with mental strength within your own mind that says, no, I can achieve anything I want to achieve. I'm going to give you some examples of what people have done that they didn't believe possible before they actually achieved them. This guy here on the left, Sir Edmund Hillary. The guy on his right is Sherpa Tenzing Norgay. And in 1953, these were the first two people to climb Mount Everest. They climbed Mount Everest. This thing that previously before that, it was just, there's no point trying to climb it because you will die or you will not make it and have to come back. The amount of people that died trying to climb Mount Everest made everybody else fearful that it was impossible until 1953, and somebody did it for the first time. Up until that point, it was a false expectation appearing real. It is impossible. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Two people have done it. And subsequent to that, hundreds, thousands of people have now climbed Mount Everest. It's still a remarkable achievement. It's still a remarkable achievement. But it's possible. People realize it's possible. The fear factor has been taken away. It doesn't exist anymore. They were the first two people to do it. The following year, 1954, this guy, Sir Roger Bannister, he couldn't, nobody could. It was impossible to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But false expectation, again, appearing real. It is impossible. You cannot do this. It is unachievable. Until 1954, Iffley Road in Oxford, Sir Roger Bannister did it in 3 minutes, 59 point something. Nobody could tell you what the point something is. They know it was less than 4 minutes. Up until that point, it was impossible. You cannot do this. You cannot do. Roger Bannister said, absolutely not. I am not accepting that to be true. I am not accepting that to be true. I will beat that record. Come forward now to 2021. I think the world record for the mile now is something around about 3 minutes and 41 seconds. I mean, it's incredible the amount of time they've taken off. This picture is so iconic, just from a personal perspective, because this guy refused to accept that he could not achieve what he wanted to achieve. I actually have this picture with Roger Bannister's signature on it in my office at home because I want to look at it and be inspired to achieve anything that I want to achieve. I want to reinforce in my mind that mental message that just said, John, if you want to do it, you can do it. I've done it. So I've got that very picture at home. false expectations appearing. Do not allow these things to affect what you believe and stop you from taking yourself and your business to ultimately where you believe you think it can get to. So you do have to believe that you can get to this place where the magic happens. You've got to believe. So I come back to these 6 inches between our ears and say, these are the most important 6 inches we have in our lives. They absolutely are. And if we use them correctly, anything that we want to do, anything we want to achieve starts to become, on the surface, looks to start to be impossible. It starts to be possible. Once you start to believe that's possible, you become what we call this thing called response-able. You become responsible, which you'll see in a minute in another video clip I'm going to play for you. Response-able. You are able to respond in the way that you, and then amazing things start to happen. Amazing things once you start responding in the way that you are able. And once you do that to yourself, you become this conduit because you can get other people to believe in themselves too. Once you can get other people to believe in themselves too, not only do you make them better individuals for themselves, they are better family members, they are better members of the community, better members of the business they work in. And it's a really powerful thing, but it starts with us. It really does start with us. Want to play you a little video clip now of a guy called Richard Pimental. If you don't know Richard Pimental, please do Google him outside of here. Let's listen to what Richard's got to say.
I was so scared. I was 8 years old. I hid behind my grandmother. Back in the days of food stamps. I remember we went to the store and we were getting these groceries and grandma was taking these little coupons off and giving them to the clerk. And this man looked over and very loudly said, "Will you look at that? Will you look at all that good food that woman has? My family doesn't have good food like that. He said, I'm paying for that. Old woman, how are you ever going to pay me back for all I've done for you? How are you ever going to pay society back for everything that we have done for you?" My grandmother pulled me out from behind her and she put her hands on my shoulders. And here's what she said: "I will never be able to pay you back. I will never be able to pay society back. But do you see this child? Someday this child will pay you back in ways that you cannot imagine." I didn't believe in that, but she believed in me. I learned leadership by being a good follower. The leaders in my life have asked me to do some of the most difficult things. I had a leader that asked me to risk my life in Vietnam. We were up on this hill and we were trapped and we were outnumbered 20 to 1. They were coming up to kill us. And they radioed us and said, "Oh, you're going to die because we can't get to you because of the fog. But if we blow up half the hill, you can go down that half and get away. But we need 5 of you to stay back and slow up the enemy so they don't flank the ones that are escaping." Really? Who would that be? Sergeant Parker came to us and he said, "You have to do this." I said, "What?" He says, "It's our responsibility." I said, "Responsibility?" He said, "You know what responsibility is, Richard? It's a word made up of 2 words. The word response and the word ability. Responsibility isn't what someone puts on you. Responsibility isn't your job description. Responsibility isn't the paper you sign. We all find ourselves looking at situations, and we all find ourselves with abilities. And what we have to ask is, given my abilities, what then will be my response to those abilities? Do we have the ability to slow them up? Do we have the ability to save these lives? We do. So what is our response? I had a leader that talked me into never retiring and working till the day I die. We adopted 4 little disabled girls in December, ages 9 to 4. I'm 66 years old. This was not my idea for my golden years. But they were going to split them all up if we didn't take them. We were the only ones who could take them. And I asked my wife, "Why do you think I should do this?" And she looked at me and she said, "It's our responsibility." And did we have the ability to do it? Yeah. What was our response to that ability? To do it. What abilities do you have? And more importantly, what is your response? I have a little assignment. I want you to think about it. I want you to go out. I want you to find 3 people on Monday. And I want you to get 3 people to believe in you. On Friday, I want you to go out. And I want you to get 3 people to believe in themselves. I want you to ask yourself this question. Did I feel more like the leader I want to be on Monday? Or did I feel more like the leader I want to be on Friday? Leaders do not get people to believe in them. Leaders find ways to get people to believe in themselves. This year, believe in somebody. My friends, how will these people pay you back for all you've done for them? I'll tell you how they will pay you back in ways that you cannot imagine.
So, Richard Pimentel there, and you listen to that, and as leaders and as managers of organizations, we look at ourselves and we think, wow, look at the responsibility that we've got. And he says there, you've got to find ways to get people to believe in themselves. Turn that around. The people that work for us, they look to us as the leaders, as the business owners, as the managers. They think we've got all the answers. The one thing we cannot be is to show them to be, this thing called scared. We've got to accept the responsibility that comes with it. Responsibility, as he said in that video clip, is not what someone puts on you. It is not your job description. It is not the paper that you sign. It is everything that we've got in our ability to respond to the situation that we need to respond to. So we are response able. It's absolutely within our gift to do what we want to do. And it's also within our gift to be where we want to be. So Action Coach, we said as part of putting the webinar out that one of the things we would look at is the formula for life success. The formula of life success within Action Coach. We share this with most of the people we work with. B times do equals have. There are no metrics. There are no metrics associated with this equation. So if we've got any mathematicians, I'm sorry, that will play with your head, but there are no metrics. Whatever it is you want to have in life, whatever it is you want to have in life will be a function of the person that you need to be and the things that you need to do. Whatever it is you want to have in life will be a function of the person that you need to be and the things that we need to do, or whatever it is that we need to do. Some of those things to change to be the person we need to be will involve that very word, change. We might need to be a better business owner, might need to be a better brother, a better father, better, all lots of different things. Who is it that we need to be? Challenge our very selves to be, who is it? Who is that person that will take me to the point where I'll have what I want to have? Have does not necessarily mean materialistic things that we want to have for the rest of our lives. I want to have a world whereby I can go and see my children do their sports days, go to their prize giving assemblies. I want to have a world where I can just do that. If that's the case, who do you need to be? And what is it you need to do that allows you to facilitate that happening? I want to have a very happy family life. Who do you need to be? Do you need to be a better husband? Do you need to be a better lover, better friend? All of these things. We start to look at this. The formula for life success is all around who is it that we need to be and what is it that we need to do. My question to all of you is, are we working hard enough on our human being and our human doing to get to where we want to get to? So, mental strength for success in business, title of the webinar. I want to have a business where I'm in charge. I've got the mental capacity to be able to take this thing to where I want to drive it to. Okay, who do you need to be? How different do you need to be from where, what is it that you need to do differently from where you're at now? And then start to look at how do I formulate that plan and start to put it together. What do I need to do? What is it I need to do differently that I don't currently do? What do I need to start doing? I could go off on a tangent now and do a full half day on habits. That's not for this hour. But you can start, what is it that you need to do? Sometimes we need to change what we do. They start with our habits. Do we need to change what we're doing? Do we need to eat more healthily? Do we need to do more exercise? Do we need to do more reading? Do we need to spend more time with the children when they're doing their homework? What is it that we need to do? And for that, who do we need to be? So this formula for life success is exactly the same for your business. What is it you want to have? I want to have a super successful business that I can sell at age 50 for £1 million. Let's be outlandish. Okay, that's great. That's what you want to have. So who do you need to be? What sort of business owner do you need to be able to have a business that is going to be revenue-wise in and around the region of £1 million? You've got to be a different business owner to someone who's in charge of a business turning over 50, 60, 70,000. You've got to get more financially astute, for example. And what is it you need to do? You've got to get your business to the point where it starts to work independently of you. So you start to look at this formula and you think to yourself, wow, 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 there are only 3 words, there are 8 letters, and yet this encompasses everything that I want to do moving forward. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. In terms of mindset, what is it you want to have? It's all around who you need to be and a function of what it is that you need to do. Start thinking from today onwards about what you might need to do differently. Going to talk you through these 4 examples, businesses that we work with. And the top one was a wedding venue who took on the wedding venue that they currently run 7 years ago. 7 years ago, the building they took on was run down, almost dilapidated, hadn't been used for decades, and they just saw what was in front of them and thought, I think I can make this into the very best wedding venue in the whole of the United Kingdom. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to have. They realized for that to happen, they had to do something different. They had to be a different person. In January of this year, 2 months ago, in January of this year, that wedding venue was voted the very best historic building wedding venue in the whole of the UK. The very best historic building wedding venue in the whole of the UK at the industry's own elite awards, the Wedding Industry Awards. Absolutely phenomenal, amazing achievement. And yet, did they really believe that was possible when they first started? They had a vision. They know where they wanted to get to. They had to push themselves out of their comfort zone. By golly, they've pushed and stretched themselves. But they wanted to get there. They had the mental capacity and resilience to say, I will not accept second best. I do not want to be a runner-up. Amazingly, for the 3 years previously, they were runner-up in different categories. This year, they reached the pinnacle. We had a fashion business that we work with that want to be on every high street in the UK. You look at the one place in the world at the minute, you do not want to be on a high street in retail. And yet we've got someone who wants to be on every single high street. You know, the mindset to actually drive you to want to get there is just phenomenal. That business is now 10 times the size it was only a small matter of years ago. 10 times the size. They are firmly on a journey to get to exactly where they want to get to because they believe they could do it. Henry Ford, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are correct. A psychotherapy business that we work with, they said they set out, they wanted to be the gold standard in that particular industry profession or in that industry sector. This was driven by something that happened to someone personally many years ago and said, I will not accept that this is the standard that people should be subjected to within this industry, within this profession. And set their business up to actually set the gold standard. They are remarkable. They are way down the path towards being probably the biggest psychotherapy business in the UK. And the standards that they are setting are just brilliant, brilliant. And an online shoe retailer, you know, can see, I believe we can be the UK version of Zappos. If you don't know who Zappos are, Zappos was an online shoe retailer started 15 years ago by a gent called Tony Hsieh in Las Vegas. Revenues of Zappos last time I looked were around about £340 million. Online shoes, and he wants to replicate that in the UK. His mindset is such that I know I can do this. I'm going to do it. You know, you are looking at a business that's grown 16 times in 9 months in the UK because he believes he can get there. It comes back to whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't. You really are correct. Is it easy? Is it easy? Oh gosh, is it easy? If it was, folks, if it was, everybody would be doing it. You guys that are heading up organizations that are on this webinar this afternoon, thank you very much for tuning in, and for all the managers and leaders in different businesses, thank you for tuning in. But if this was easy, you know, be under no illusions, everybody would be doing it, but they're not. But they're not. There's a reason why 5% of people are employers. How good could you be? Once you start to realize and you set your mind on a course of action, how good could you be? If only you knew how far you could push yourselves and achieve what you want to achieve, you could achieve some remarkable and amazing things. You saw on the previous slide 4 examples of people who believed they could do what they wanted to do. Has it been easy? No. Has it been tough? Yes. Have there been ups and downs? Yes. And there always will be. But the underlying is that we are going to improve. We're going to get better. We're going to get better. We're going to get better. I want to show you that. I know 2 or 3 of you on the tuning in this afternoon will have seen this already, but I want to see what happens when you push yourself or someone else pushes you harder than what you probably think you could have done. So let's have a quick look.
So, Coach, how strong is Westview this year?
A lot stronger than we are.
You already written Friday night down as a loss, Brock?
Well, not if I know we could beat them.
Come here, Brock. You too, Jeremy.
What, am I in trouble now?
Not yet. I want to see you do the death crawl again, except I want to see your absolute best.
What, you only go to the 30?
I think you can go to 50.
50. I can go to the 50 if nobody's on my back.
I think you can do it with Jeremy on your back. But even if you can, I want you to promise me you're going to do your best.
All right.
Your best.
Okay.
You going to give me your best?
I'm going to give you my best.
All right, one more thing. I want you to do it blindfolded.
Why?
Because I want you giving up at a certain point when you can go further. Get down. Jeremy, get on his back. Get a good tight hold, Jeremy. All right. Let's go, Brock. Give your knees off the ground. Just your hands and feet. There you go. A little bit left. A little bit left. Up in. There you go. Show me good effort. That way, Brock. You keep coming. There you go. It's a good start. A little bit left. A little bit left. There you go, Brock. Good strength. That's it, Brock. That's it.
Not at the 20 yet?
Forget the 20. You give me your best. You keep going. That's it. No, don't stop, Brock. You got more in you than that.
I ain't done. Just rest a second.
You got to keep moving. Let's keep moving. Let's go. Don't quit till you got nothing left. There you go. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. You keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. Keep driving it. Your very best. Your very best. Your very best. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. That's it. That's it. Keep going. Don't quit on me. Keep going. Keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. That's it. Your very best. Don't quit on me. Your very best. Keep driving. Keep driving. There you go. There you go. That's it. You keep driving. Keep your knees off the ground. Keep driving it. Don't quit till you got nothing left. Keep moving, Brock. That's it. That's it. That's it. Keep going. I want everything you got. Come on. Keep going. It hurts. Don't quit on me. Your very best. Keep driving. Keep driving. There you go. There you go.
He's heavy.
I know he said
I'm bad strength.
and you negotiate with your body to find more strength, but don't you give up on me, Brock. You keep going. You hear me? You keep going. You're doing good. You keep going. Do not quit on me. You keep going. I know it hurt. You keep going. You keep going. It's all hard from here. 30 more steps. You keep going, Brock. Come on. Keep going. And let it burn. It's all hard. You keep going, Brock. Come on. Come on. Keep going. You promised me your best. Your best. Don't stop. Keep going. It's not too hard. You keep going. Come on, Brock. Give me more. Give me more. Keep going. 20 more steps. 20 more. Keep going, Brock. Give me your best. Don't quit. No. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Brock Kelly, you don't quit. Keep going. Keep going. Go, Brock Kelly. You don't quit on me. No, you keep going. You keep going. Go, Brock. 10 more steps. 10 more. 10 more. 10 more. Keep going. Don't quit. Give me yours. You can. You can. 5 more. 5 more. Come on, Brock. Come on. Don't quit. Don't quit. Come on, Brock. 2 more. 1 more. Look up, Brock. You're in the end zone. Brock, you are the most influential player on this team. If you walk around defeated, so will they. Don't tell me you can't give me more than what I've been seeing.
You just carried a 140-pound man across this whole field on your arms. Brock, I need you. God's gifted you with the ability of leadership. Don't waste it.
Coach,
Can I count on you?
Yes.
coach,
What is it, Jeremy?
I wear 160.
As you see that and you watch that and you look at it, and some of the things, again, there's lots of things you can pull out away from that. And towards the end, and you realize you can achieve something that you never really achieved was possible. As far as you could push your mind, you could not believe that you could go from one end of that pitch to the other with a 160-pound person on your back. Absolutely no way is that achievable. And yet it was achieved. And the coach says to him at the very end, you know, you are the most influential player on the team. As business owners, as managers and leaders, we are the most influential player in the team or on the team. It is up to us. If we give up, so will they. They were the exact words of his coach. We've got to lead by, there are some things that we don't want to do. We see them in front of us and we're fearful because there's a challenge in front of us. It means we've got to change. But if we give up, then so will they. It comes back to what I said at the very start, and I will keep reiterating and reiterating and reiterating. If you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are correct. He was blindfolded for a reason. It took the mental thing inside his head that says once he got to the 30 or the 40-yard line, he knew that's as far as he could go. He took that out of the equation. Didn't allow his mind to be affected by that, so he had a complete fresh mindset, and he just kept driving and driving and driving. You know, he pushed and he pushed and he pushed. If I go back to the slide of the 4 examples that we gave you of the wedding business, of the fashion business, of the online shoe retailer, of the psychotherapy business, did they believe they could get to where they've got to? I think in their minds they thought it was a place that they'd like to get to, but I don't believe for a second that they thought they could really get there. You have to work on your mindset like you work on your exercise. You have to work on your mindset like you work on your diet. You have to work on your mindset like you work on your habits. This is something that we are in control of. We can change it. We can direct it. But we've got to want to do that. I want to have a mind that's pointing me towards the successful person and business that I want to have. Brilliant. If that's what you want to have, what is it that you need to be? Who is it you need to be? What is it you need to do? It comes back to that formula for life success. B times do equals have. I want to have an amazing team that will build my business still further. Brilliant. Who is it that you need to be? Well, I need to be a much better recruiter of people, John. Well, let's start looking at how do we make you better at recruiting. What is it you want to have? I want to have the biggest poor crikey supermarket business in the UK. Okay, so who do you need to be? I need to get a whole lot better at mass retailing, get wholesaling. It's right. What do we need to do? What do you need to do? So you want to be that? What do you need to do? You will have what you want. If you believe you can do it, you will actually start pushing yourselves there. But mindset is like exercise. It is like health. It is like your habits. It's like everything. You have to discipline yourself to want to get there. So in terms of the learning from the lunchtime webinar today, and we're saying, so what is stopping you from being where you want to be? Is it your mindset that's stopping you from where you want to get to? Go back to, for 30 seconds, just go back and look at what you wrote down at the start. What is it that you wanted to get better at in terms of mental strength, mental resilience for your businesses? And now, having seen that there are ways and means that you can train your mind, you can push yourself. You've seen people achieve things that were previously impossible. People have climbed Mount Everest. We've run the sub 4-minute mile. We've gone from one end of American football pitch to the other with somebody on our back. We've got the very best wedding venue in the whole of the UK. All of things were not achievable. And yet with mental resilience, mental strength and pushing ourselves, getting rid of that thing called fear that we introduce ourselves, it doesn't exist. It's an abstract construct. You cannot buy a cup of fear. You cannot take it out of the cupboard. Go back and look at what you wrote down. Are you now in a position with something you may have heard over the last 40 or 50 minutes to say to yourself, actually, the only thing that's stopping me is me? And in most cases, the person that is stopping you is getting there is absolutely you. Or you may need a little bit of help to where you want to get to. So what could you do now to move on from where you were? So today's Lunch and Learn, it's all about fear, the mental strength, the mental resilience for being successful in business. It's all around mental resilience and mental strength for being successful per se. Because if we're successful as individuals, our businesses will be successful as a result of us being successful as individuals. So from where you were and what you wrote down at the start, where do you need to get to? Do you need any help? Do you need any help with the plans that you need to put in place? We're here to help you should you want to do that. The team behind me have seen everybody that's registered. Anybody that wants to pick up, I want to have a 15 or a 20-minute chat through where they're at currently. If you want some help with your mental resilience, take you where you want to get to, please, 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 please do that and contact the team, or the team will contact you. In terms of just wrapping up, 10 minutes, there's always 10 minutes at the end for questions. I think Catherine's going to jump on in a second, but I've seen 2 questions I could see in the Q&A box. I'll cover those first, Catherine. I don't know whether you're still there, but the first question I can see is it possible to have a link to the videos that you've played this afternoon? The answer to that is absolutely yes. Yes, we'll do that. Rather than pick and choose, what we'll do is we'll send the links to the 4 videos to everybody that has registered this afternoon. So if ever you want to watch them through again, they're there, they're yours. Is it recorded is the other question I can see, and the answer to that is all our webinars are recorded. However, and it's however purely because the last video clearly didn't embed correctly, so I had to drop out and go onto YouTube, so it may have stopped recording at that point, but mostly the sessions, the webinars are recorded for future learnings. Catherine, I don't know whether you're there and you've got any more questions. Are you there?
Yeah, just a couple. The graphic that you shared about the cycle that we're on, could that be shared? That was the question.
Absolutely, yes. So the change cycle, will include that with the 4 links to the YouTube videos. And just for good measure, we'll add with it the grief curve as well, the Kubler-Ross grief model. And you'll see that they are remarkably similar, that when people are going through grief and change, it's remarkable what's going on in people's minds. So yeah, we'll do that, yes.
And then there was one on about changing who I want to be and do. Have you got any recommendations for changing habits? And then one about mindset.
What a great question. In terms of, there are many things you can do in terms of wanting to change the way you operate moving forward. The thing that will dictate the biggest change in your life will be your habits. Without a shadow of a doubt, it will be your habits. There are many, many, many studies across many years that show this to be the case. Recommended reading, oh crikey, 3 books on habits. The first one, probably a brilliant guy from New York called James Clear. He actually flew in 2 years ago to our conference. He wrote a book called Atomic Habits. I think the subtitle is something along the lines of an easy and proven way to build good habits and break the bad ones. But if you read it and follow the advice that's in there, then it will make your life better. It absolutely will make your life better. The other 2, I guess, would be The Slight Edge by a gentleman called Jeff Olson, that says if you just start improving little things daily, the compound effect of those over time starts to be remarkable. And amazingly, the third one would be a book that's actually called The Compound Effect, by an author called Darren Hardy. Principles are exactly the same in Atomic Habits, The Compound Effect, and The Slight Edge. They will take you to where you want to get to. Now, it would be remiss of me not to say the biggest selling book of all time on habits, of which I think about 17 million copies have been sold, was written by a gentleman called Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So that would be, to many people's eyes, the Bible. The more modern thinking, or just a more up-to-date version, is Atomic Habits, The Compound Effect, and The Slight Edge. But absolutely, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Brilliant, brilliant read.
There was just another question about what the name of the clip was about the sports coach. And I like this one. Where do you get a coach like Brox?
Well, where do you get a coach like Brox? He's presenting the webinar today, I guess is probably the only answer to that. I am compelled to say that, of course. What I will say is that please don't be under the illusion that all coaches do behave in that way. But the very best coaches in the world, whether it be in sport, whether it be in business, whether it be in life, transformation, whatever, the very best, they push you when you need pushing. It's almost the, if anybody's got children or grandchildren and seen Nanny McPhee, it's the bit that says, she says at the end, you know, when you need me but don't want me, I will be there. But when you want me but don't need me because you've cracked it, I'll be gone. So they'll push you when you need it, when you really, you need pushing, but you don't want to do it. That's when good coaches really do come to the fore. That coach in that clip, the clip, by the way, is called, it's from a film called Facing the Giants. And that was called The Death Crawl, that particular part of it. So the film itself is great. So yeah, any more, Catherine?
No, that was it, unless anybody has any ones they want to just pop in now.
So we'll just wait for 2 more minutes to see if anybody puts any more questions in. I'm quite happy to stay for the other 6 or 7 minutes. I guess this is number 2 of a series of 8. So I'll just talk through what happens for the next 6. Well, at least I won't. I'm hoping Catherine is going to say what the titles are, at least the next 2 or 3. And when do we expect those to happen, Catherine? Because I know they're all diaried already.
Thanks for putting me on the spot. Just 1 second, I'll pull them up. Just give me a second. Okay, so they're every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. Oh my goodness.
That's okay. So they're every 2 weeks, aren't they? From now, they are every 2 weeks. They're without fail. So it's every second Wednesday from now that they're actually happening.
In
The
2
next
weeks-
one. I
in
was
2
gonna
weeks'
say-
time mastery, you can't manage time, but you can manage what you do with it. 2 weeks after that, exceptional customer service, how to keep your customers not only buying from you, but buying more. The following 2 weeks will be know your numbers, how to understand the key numbers for better informed decisions and ultimate success. And then a really, really important one, 5 ways to boost your profits, learn how to increase the bottom line by about 61%.
Brilliant. So in order, time, customer service, finances, profits. So they're the next 4 webinars, and we hope we'll see everybody on those. Conscious now, we're down to the last 5 minutes. Any more questions, Catherine, before we wrap up?
Not that I can see coming in.
Okay. It just leaves me to say what it says on the screen. Thank you, everybody, for attending. It is up to you as leaders and business owners to go out now and make good things happen. If you need us for anything in the meantime, email address is there at the bottom. I think most people will know that. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time on the next Lunch and Learn webinar. So thank you all. Thank you.